Alright, so if you couldn't tell by the fact that I'm playing Treasure Hamster and I didn't instantly delete this recording after I finished the video, you can tell I've got a pretty sweet high roll for you today. And it starts off pretty, well, innocently enough with a nice little sapling and a few farm stats. And we use it to get a tie in our first match. And right here, you know, I've got the frog plus the spell. Generally, I'm kind of loath to use this spell just because it just feels so rare that you actually end up keeping the stats. But I end up using it and it pays off. We keep the stats and we even find another frog right here. And we also run into a really interesting scenario here. So I have a couple options. I could even just, you know, choose not to use the spell on the to make a freed prince this turn and get the instant upgrade next turn, but I feel like the freed prince upgrade is not really as impactful as having two freed princes and one frog, if you know what I mean, because the freed prince, they do actually buff the little frog to make it a 3/3, so it's actually a lot of stats that you're losing if you upgrade it without really thinking through what you're doing. And even the fact that we have the chance for a level 3 treasure, since we're playing Treasure Hamster, I don't think it's worth it quite yet. And we grab a Consti and throw a Vampiric Scepter on him. I don't know exactly what it's called, but there's an item in League of Legends called that, so make of that what you will. And we do end up pulling off a tie. So yeah, we're doing pretty well right here. I think I'm probably going to upgrade this freed prince now. And yeah, we'll just grab the mage just to get a few extra stats off of it and get even more stats off of that. And yeah, it's just not worth, even though we're going into 4, I don't feel like it's worth upgrading the sapling right now. It's just way too risky to go into a match with, you know, fewer than the max number of units. And we end up getting a Mimic, which I absolutely love Mimic playing Treasure Hamster. There's just so many opportunities when you're playing Treasure Hamster and you get Mimic to get a Mimic like 5 or even a 6 cost treasure, and the possibilities with those are just really, really insane. So we pick up an owl, which is not generally a unit that I like to pick up too much, even though it has gotten buffed, I think. But I think it's a decent, kind of the best option we had there. And we're gonna future vision here and grab a crab, which I think is a really good opportunity. Crabs even with their nerf are still just, it just feels like such a strong unit at level 4. And future vision on Treasure Hamster is, you know, just really, really good. An opportunity to find some really good units later on, especially since our board is not too terribly weak right now. We actually get our owl killed right there at the beginning, which kind of sucks, but we still pull out the tie. So, and here we have a lot of choices and none of them are great. I think the best option, you know, just by itself is probably the shoot, I forget what she's called, but the succubus. She's probably the best standalone unit. But the problem is I don't really want to be going into Slay, especially since I feel like I've got 35 HP and I've got the opportunity to do something pretty interesting. So I decided to forego the succubus and just go for the potential for either like a boost or maybe even a hunter comp if I can find something later on. And this turn's kind of a disaster. There's just absolutely nothing that I really want. You know, the Rapunzel is not... She's a pretty in my opinion, she's kind of a questionable unit, even at level 4. And so going into level 6, it feels really bad. But we don't want to waste our rolls at this point, so we're just going to buy the best of what we can get here. So we'll buy the pair of foxes, even though I don't particularly want to get the fox upgrade right now, just because I've got my Mimic. but it kind of works as a last resort. So we just kind of waste away this turn, but we do have a little bit of extra gold that we can use next turn, and we do take a lot of damage, which kind of sucks. So at this point, you know, we're level 6 and we've got to take what we find. So we take the Woman in the Moon, which isn't that big of a deal because we do have some Slay, and you know, she'll give us the opportunity to kind of take advantage of some of the weaker opponents right now. And I am gonna try and take this Guinevere so we can go into a boost comp. And you know, there's a lot of different things that I could do with this positioning, but I think the best chance is probably our Rapunzel. She'll have 41 attack with the Slay, and I think there's a pretty decent chance, and she does Slay there, which works out really, really well because we end up with just our Woman in the Moon and she's able to just attack over and over and again to get the win. And we find our Arthur pair, which feels really good considering we've got that Mimic, because if we can get a hold of that last Arthur, then that'll mean either a 5 or probably even a 6 cost treasure that we have mimicked. So at this point, you know, we're looking for pretty much anything boost. We don't want to stick around in Slay comp. We just don't have the scaling to take advantage of Slay. We're just kind of using it to get us through this mid game and kind of into our final comp. And it seems to be doing its job. We get 2 Slays plus a Woman in the Moon Slay and end up pulling out another tie, which is great for us. So now we're really just looking. We want that 3rd Arthur. We'll take, you know, a Merlin would be great. Anything that we can use, and there we go. We get our 3rd Arthur, and we have terrible choices, and not insofar as them being terrible choices, but we really only have one option: boosting all of our backline or removing ranged. None of those take anything from the Mimic. So really our only choice if we want to use the Mimic is the doubled auras, and that's a great treasure for us, especially if we can find a Mimic. And even in the short term, it makes our Gretel usable at the moment. I mean, we only have 6 attack, but she's still got 42. But we're gonna have to find something better than that because we got pretty destroyed in that last fight. So I'm not gonna bother picking up another Gretel. I think we're pretty much narrowed into a boost comp at this point. So we pick up the Guinevere, and we'll go ahead and triple this just in case we get a good one. Odin's Ravens, not terrible, but you know, also not all that interesting at this point in the game. But you know, it is what it is. We really just need a Merlin, and there we go. We found our Merlin. So if we can get through this fight, which it's against a ghost, so I'd like to think that we can, then it would be great. We go ahead and swap up our board because of the Mix-a-Wizzle that we used, but it doesn't matter. We win this pretty easily. Kind of a free fight, and now things are gonna kind of start happening, because now that we've got the Merlin and he's doubling all of our boosts, or probably even tripling because of our Mimic. I'm not sure if it's additive or multiplicative. I'm pretty sure it's additive, so the Mimic just adds an additional 1. But I might be wrong on that. And it's not really a tough choice. Celestial Shield and the Spell Reflector are both great. They're both 7s, but it's really hard to say no to Golden King at this point in the game because we don't have upgraded units. You know, if we can find more units, then we can get like a full-on, you know, late game board really quickly with this. Where we just don't have enough units to risk going for those bigger treasures. And yeah, we're down to 5 health now, so it's kind of do or die at this point. We really need to find some more Merlins. Some more Merlins is, you know, and maybe a treasure to replace Odin's Ravens. I consider the Guinevere, but you know, I'm just not sure about it, and we decide to go for the treasure instead, and we really get paid off, but with the Doppelganger Diamond Doppelganger Diamond just pairs absolutely incredibly. I forget the name of the other treasure now, but with the other treasure that we have. So now we're gonna have an entire board of all upgraded units, and our backline is getting huge now. We're into the thousands already. So yeah, we really just want more Merlins at this point. The more Merlins we have, the more auras we have, and the more huge our boosts are gonna get. We go ahead and put a boost on our Guinevere, or a boost token on our Guinevere, which is gonna make our backline just even huger, even bigger. Huger is probably not a word, but it'll take our boost from ×2 to ×4, which is just really good. And yeah, you know, things are looking pretty good, but if you look at our board, you'll notice we still only really have 3 actual units on our board. We've got our Merlin, we've got our Guinevere, and we've got our Arthur. So we just really need to fill out our board with, you know, units that we actually care about, because the Fox, the Woman in the Moon, and the Gretel are kind of just, they're just filler units at this point. And there's our other Merlin. So now this is when things are gonna start really popping off, because now we've got 2 upgraded Merlins, and with our Doppelganger Diamond, we're gonna have 3. So our backline is gonna start being huge. And yeah, we're actually gonna sell down and grab the good boy. Not the perfect unit, and I actually should have put the Vampiric Dagger, I think that's what it's called. I tried to do that there at the very end, but wasn't quite quick enough. But it's okay. We're still big enough to win this fight. Our backline, like our Arthur's up to 2,300 now, so we are pretty big. The one problem that we have at this point is we don't want to upgrade our Merlin. It's just, if we upgrade our Merlin, we go from having 3 upgraded Merlins in a fight to only 1. Or I suppose 2, because we can still have them in the front. But that's going to be a huge problem for us. So as much as we want to hold and buy this Merlin, because we want more Merlins, we just really can't afford to do it at this point, since we've only got 10 HP. So, you know, maybe if we were going against the Ghost next turn, we could afford to do it, but it's just way too risky right now. But, you know, it doesn't matter, because our board is pretty strong at this point. And again, we just, you know, maybe I could have done that since we're going against the Ghost next, but I just felt like it was too risky to go for. But then we get, you know, the absolute jackpot. So we've got a Merlin in our shop, but we've also got a Knighthood. Or actually, maybe it's called Ascendance. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but we're able to upgrade one of our Merlins, so when we buy this next Merlin, it's not going to actually upgrade it. So now we're going to have 4 upgraded Merlins. And all of those upgraded Merlins have auras, and our auras are doubled by our double aura treasure, and then our double aura treasure is doubled by our mimic. So it's a lot of doubling, but I think you get the idea. It's gonna be a lot of stats. And we kind of messed around with the board, trying to decide exactly what I want to do with it, because there's not really all that much more that we can do. But I think at the end of the day, I'm gonna decide to put this the good boy in the back, actually, and give him a ton of stats, because even if he only buffs, you know, like 1 or 2 of my other units, it's, you know, it's gonna be 1,400 times 2 times however many it increases when my Merlins upgrade. So yeah, it's like a 4,000, you know, we're giving away 8,000 stats basically. So you can see our Merlin and Arthur get up to like 12,000. So yeah, it's a lot of stats. And again, we have to say no to this Merlin just because we can't afford to lose one. If we can find another Knighthood, then we can do the same little trick again. But I don't think it's going to be necessary because this is the last fight, and I'm pretty sure this Icarus was even weaker than the toy dino, so I think this Pigomorph is going to be plenty enough to get us the win here. And yeah, this guy is not weak at all. He's got entrance token on an upgraded Nero, dying breath token on an upgraded herding dog, and he's even got the drum roll for doubled entrance, but it's just still not even close to enough to deal with our massive back line and our slew of Merlins and their doubled aura giving double boosts. So it's a lot of doubles. Not sure if it's multiplicative or not, but either way, it's a lot of stats. And yeah, we pull out a really fun and unique win. So thanks for watching. Bye.